Hello and welcome to Transform Her with Teresa Smith for this evening, November 20th. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. So I'm going to give it just a couple of seconds. I am so grateful that you are here, whether you are joining live or whether you are joining on the rebroadcast. I am again this week broadcasting in two locations, and I am so proud of myself. Gosh, I am so proud of myself. Um, I'm proud of myself for just stepping out here to do this. Again, and when I look at you on this screen, that means that I'm looking at you on Instagram Live. And when I'm looking at you on this screen, I'm looking at you on YouTube Live or I'm looking at you on Facebook Live. So I am very, very excited and grateful that you are joining this evening. Um, and I'm just about ready to get started. This evening is it's about being cracked open. And if you don't know what being cracked open is, this is about to hopefully enlighten you, hopefully change your experience, hopefully grow you in some places that you may not even know you need to grow. So, again, thank you for joining. My name is Teresa Smith. I'll do a better introduction in just a few minutes. Um, but yeah, I'm excited. So, like I said, we'll give it just another couple of seconds and I will get started talking to you, whoever joins in. And maybe it's just me. Sometimes the story isn't about the other person. Sometimes the story, most of the time, God, all the time, the story is about you and what you're doing and how you're handling it. So, um, yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for joining me. And this music in the background, it is called Funky Groove. I found it on a website, um, and I liked it and I downloaded it and I said I would use it if I ever started a podcast or when I started my podcast. And the other podcast that I had, this music probably was not as appropriate as it could be for this one. So, um, yeah, I bought it a couple of years ago and I'm just now using it for the first time. So, thank you for listening to it with me here on this live broadcast. Okay, maybe I'm too excited. People tell you how to do your podcast, and they always say, "Oh, wait a few minutes, let people come on." And da, 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 da. I'm not doing any of that. I am here for this experience, and I am very, very excited for it. So I am going to give you what I came to give you this evening. It is 2 minutes after 9, and I'm ready to get started. So I will introduce myself if you do not know me. And first of all, I want to say thank you again for joining, whether you're joining for the live broadcast or whether you're joining for the rebroadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Transform Her with Teresa Smith. And this is all about transformation. It is what it is. It says what it is. Um, it really is a spinoff of the title of the rebrand that I am doing within my business. My business is Peaceful Soul Life Coaching, and Peaceful Soul has been around since 2017. However, it has been a strong calling um, for me to move into a space that helps women to transform first into who they are as the human in this experience, and then to who they are as leaders. I've been doing coaching, business development coaching, and all the things individual, group, corporate, all the things. However, it has and it has been phenomenal. I don't want to make it seem like I didn't love every minute of it, and I did. But I have felt this strong calling even before being in my current position, just feeling this calling to um, help women, help other women, and to help other women find their way through this experience by living the experience as their true authentic selves. And I would know we hear that a lot. That is the end all. That's the catchphrase for right now. Everybody is everything is authentic, everything is authentic. But what does it really mean to be authentic? So we kind of talked about that last week. Um, being authentic. But now moving as you when you start to become authentic, the only way that you can do that is to know self, right? To know self. And most of us don't know ourselves. And I'm speaking, and I say us, you will almost always hear me speak as if I'm talking about you and me, because in my mind, it's you and me. Anything I say to you, I'm saying it to you because I have either, I tell people I live it, feel it, witness it, experience it, or have it. It's one of those things. If I'm talking about it, then I have either lived it, witnessed it, experienced it, had it, all the things, and now in this place of wanting to see other women thrive. We are in this society, and I talk about it all the time. I talked about it some last week, how society kind of dictates how we live as people. And I laugh all the time because I said, well, when I was a kid, we used to have TV shows. And I realized in my adulthood, they were TV shows. They were showing us how they wanted us to live. TV shows, they showing us, right? Okay, so I made peace with that. And then I met this guy some years ago, and we were talking, and he said, no, I don't. We were talking. I said, well, have you seen so and so? He's like, no, I never seen that. And I said, well, have you seen this? And I kept trying to name stuff and ask him, had he seen things? And he was like, no, I haven't seen any of those. He said, because I don't watch TV, because TV is tell a lie to your vision, tell I vision. Boom, mind just blown. I was like, oh my God, maybe I should stop watching television because it's telling a lie to my vision. Okay, now it's kind of connecting. Then I meet another person, and we're talking about watching television and different things, and they were like, no, I don't watch television. It's programming. And then I thought about it. They stopped calling them TV shows and started to call them TV programs. I just realized that clock behind me has stopped. Yeah, it's wrong. Okay, I just noticed that. But I haven't been in my office in a while because I've been in another office in the city of Palmetto. Um, but they're programming us, right? So there's all of this programming. It comes from everywhere, whether it comes from the social media, platforms that we're on right now, whether it comes from television media, whether it comes from print media, all these places that are programming us and telling us how they want us to live, whether it is fussing and fighting and cursing. I got to do something on this camera right here. Um, Whether it is just demeaning each other and mistreating each other, talking bad about each other, being hateful to each other, or whatever it is, but how we're being programmed to be a certain way, right? And this is even hopefully helping to reprogram some people. Not program, reprogram. Um, so transform her comes from my program that I developed, transformational lead her ship. Transformational leadership. And it is all about transforming the female leader to help her understand that you don't have to lead like men lead to be respected in your position. You don't have to be hard. You don't have to be tough. You don't have to be all these things that, the narrative says you have to be in order to be a well respected leader, right? And a lot of this came from working with some other women executives who unfortunately watched kind of bully other women that were under their leadership, how they talked to them, mistreated them, made them feel bad, and all these different things, and it just never felt right to me, and I never adapted to that. So people thought I was soft. They were like, "Oh, you too soft." But then I was always the person that your whole department is in my department because they want to be around a leader who is kind and genuine and friendly and cares about you and knows the name of your children and ask you about how your weekend was or ask you about your mom, all of these different things. Again, remember, I'm looking at two different cameras. So if you see me look at up and down, I'm not cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm literally looking at two cameras talking to two different audiences. Um, but, just knowing that leadership doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be brutal. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to mistreat people and demand respect for people to respect you. And I recognized that was a real way of leading, and I saw that it was working. So I kept doing it. And then I realized, okay, other people like this. So it became a little bit easy for me to work with some companies to help them to navigate this place of how maybe do you transform, because maybe you had this type of leader all the time, or maybe it was you, maybe you were that type of leader that you were mean and fussing and bullying people and all of that stuff, and now you want to change. And maybe you want to do it quietly. Maybe you want to do it secretly. Maybe you don't want people to know that you were that person, or maybe you don't want people to know you changed. Maybe you want your evolution to be, maybe you just want to pop out on people. I don't know, but the program was is working. It works, and it works for adults. It works for youth. I work with government agencies to work with young ladies who are justice involved, to help them to transform, to help them see life differently, and to recognize that they can do things differently to get things differently. But I also know that in order to move in this space, in order to be genuinely present in this space, you've got to know self. And again, we don't know self. You and then sometimes if you know self, you don't like self. So because you don't like self, you might not operate in the ways and the spaces that you need to operate. So um authenticity is a real thing, and the world needs that right now. We've had enough fake, we've had enough vapid, we've had enough all of the other stuff. And we want to create spaces where it is comfortable for you to be you. And in all honesty, that should be any space that you occupy, that you are comfortable being you. I mean, literally any space today. And I will share with you. I went upstairs and I just tried to beat my face up a little bit, make it look better because I've been crying all afternoon. My I opened my Facebook in hopes of seeing something that was funny. They thought it was funny, something I did at City Hall today, and they took a video and they posted it, and I wanted to see it. And I opened my Facebook, and there was the first thing that popped up was a message that one of my classmates from high school had transitioned. And it caught me off guard, but it didn't just catch me off guard because one of my friends is gone. It caught me off guard because I think in as many as 3 weeks, we've had three classmates, not three schoolmates out of the entire high school, three classmates out of my class to transition. And it just hit me differently today, that I was just like, wow. I mean, it literally overwhelmed me in tears in that moment, that before we can bury the second one, a third one has transitioned. And I just burst out crying, sitting at my desk in City Hall as the mayor. Um, but at that moment, I wasn't the mayor. I was Teresa. And Teresa felt overwhelmed with sadness in that moment. And I just broke down crying, and I was sobbing, probably uncontrollably. And there was one person sitting in front of me. And if you're always the happy person and you're always the joyful person and you're always the person that makes everybody else feel good, and people see you in that space, they don't often know what to do. And she didn't know what to do. She went and got somebody else, which I'm grateful that she did. She went and got, but I could not. And I was unapologetically human in that moment. And I am very grateful that I have a staff that is human and recognizes the human in me, even though I swear they tell me I have a cape and a S on the back and all the things. It's so fun when they say those things, but I know that they recognize me as a human. I have made videos for the citizens in my city, and I'm crying on the video because of something that hurt me so deeply I could not contain my emotions. And people resonate with that because we're all human. And if the leader never shows anything other than this rock hard, solid persona, how do you show people that it's okay to be human? So I am the human that believes in being human and allows other humans to be human. I love it. I love all humans. I don't care what you did, have done. I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong, but I don't judge you for it. And I don't not love you for it, because I am commanded to love you. That is my charge. And that's just what Teresa's here to do. So because that's what I'm here to do, I'm going to do that. And there's nothing you can do to stop me from doing that. But again, it what it says to me, and what it says, even one of the young ladies in the office today said to me, she says, and because I apologized, I didn't apologize for crying. I was apologizing that I mean, it was very sudden, and it startled everybody probably because I'm just always so happy. And this time I wasn't. But she said, and when I apologized, she said, it's okay. You're human. And I am so grateful to be not just in a place, but the leader of other humans who recognize that it is okay, better than okay to be human. So again, it gave even more context to this episode tonight, Cracked Open. Because if you are the leader that always has to keep the face, and I met a female leader a couple of months ago, and I got to share this. And again, these are anecdotal stories. These are not to say anything bad about anybody. They're just to so that I can tie in what I'm talking about. So I get to this location to meet this person. I'm very excited to meet them. I've heard all about them. I'm excited for them being in their role. And I go with another person who happens to be a male. So we go to meet this person and we get there, and the person doesn't come out immediately. Send somebody out and says they gotta wait. Okay, fine, cool. We here for this because we're here to meet you because we're excited to meet you, right? All right. So this person comes out. I'll say she comes out and she's got this look, just stern, just I'm the boss. And I greet her in all of my magical excellence of who I am because I am so comfortable with who I am. I just show up as me. And it was just like, I don't even remember a handshake type deal. It was just kind of a greeting because immediately I felt the vibe was like, stand down. Okay, I can do that, but I can still be kind about it. So we're standing there talking. And instead of talking to me the entire time I'm there, which is all of maybe 8, 10 minutes, she's talking to my male counterpart that's standing there. Now, mind you, we're in two different roles. I'm in the leadership role. This person is in not the leadership role, but this woman refuses to engage with me while we're standing there together to meet you, right? To meet her. And it just lets me know that sometimes we are so deep in our persona. Cause no, ain't nobody really just like that. We love beings. That's what we came here to do. We came here to love. Just in case you didn't know that. That's why we're here, right? So none of us are really as mean as we act, or as rude as we act, or as condescending, or all the ways that we act. None of us are really, really, really that person. But we've been, whatever hurt us so bad, or whoever hurt us so bad, we created this shell that often protects us, or we think it's protecting us, right? So I'm gonna create this shell because that thing hurt me so deeply, even if I don't remember it. It hurt me so deeply. I am either unable or unwilling to let it go enough to let somebody else in and be nice to me, and I just be nice back. It's, and it's mind blowing to me because, and I guess it shouldn't be, but it is mind blowing to me in some levels because it's so easy for me to be nice. And I've been this way my whole life. So it's kind of hard for me to understand how it's hard to just smile at somebody. I remember saying to somebody who I love dearly, I love her, but I told her, I said, you never smile. I'm so scared at this point that if you do, your face will break. And she even laughed at that because she knew I was telling the truth. So it's so easy for me to be kind and nice and forgiving that it blows my mind when other people can't. But I understand that's a part of me just being cracked open. So understanding that cracked open just means that you are willing to just fully embrace vulnerability. That's such a hard word to say. God, vulnerable, vulnerability. God, okay. It is that you're willing to embrace vulnerability, all for the sake of growing and being better. I don't know what better means to you. Your better doesn't have to mean to you what mine means to me. My phone keeps going dark, and I don't know why. I don't know if I was supposed to click something to tell it not to go into screen save mode, but it knows I'm going live. I mean, it can tell I'm live, but whatever. But again, being cracked open just means that I am willing to show you my vulnerable side if it helps you to find yours. You don't have to show it to me. You just need to find it. And if me showing up, and I sometimes use this metaphor because it helps. I'm a visual person. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I need audio, I need visual, I need to touch it, I need all those ways just about to learn it for it to stick forever. But I use a lot of metaphors because I'm a visual person. And I talk oftentimes how men can be in a locker room together and it can be all men and everybody's naked and nobody's looking at nobody, nobody's talking about anybody. They just walking around talking like it's like they at the bar. Women can go into a dressing room, a communal dressing room, which don't get me wrong, I do not like them, but I'm just saying women can go in there and we are so self-conscious about our bra and panties not matching, or I got stretch marks, or look at my stomach, my pooch, and look at my cellulite, all the things. So because we can be in those spaces, we don't want other people to see us less than perfect. And again, that is some notion that somebody created because perfection is not real. I said that last week, and I'm gonna remind you every chance I get. Perfection is not real. Again, this podcast almost never happened. And I'm sitting here in my basement office for the first time in God, probably a year, over a year, because running for mayor, I was not down here. This time last year, I had won, trying to figure out where do I go from here? What do I do? What am I doing? How am I doing this? All these different things. So I'm just sitting down here in my office. But last week, I started a podcast and I found 100 ways to talk myself out of it. 2 weeks ago, I put it out there. I've been planning this and planning this and planning this. And I was scared to put it out there because I was so scared of what you were going to think. And you is whoever you are. And and the you is usually not the strangers. I'm so good with strangers. You is the people that I know who I know sit in judgment because they call me and want to talk about people, knowing I don't talk about people. But you call me and want to anyway. And when I don't, then you got an attitude about it. So I was sitting in judgment, sitting in judgment on myself, waiting on you to be in judgment of me, not willing to put my own podcast out, scared of what you were going to think. And then I just decided, okay, you know what? I'm bigger than this. I'm gonna do it. And then Wednesday, November 6th came, and I tried 1,000 ways how to talk myself out of it. What if this doesn't work? I almost kind of was hoping the internet went down, all kind of stuff, just making up stories in my own head. Then I had to remember, Teresa, you are cracked open. This is what this is all about. This is what the whole purpose of what you said you were going to do this about. To get over the imposter syndrome, to get over the being scared, to get over all the things that you have been, the narratives that you create in your head. Yeah, somebody's sitting there talking about you. Somebody is not even really concerned. At least not now. Now, when this goes off, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, look at those circles under my eyes because I was crying. So because I was crying, I got circles under my eyes. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. I want to say I haven't tried the doctor on them a little bit, but I don't pay all that powder and stuff. This is just literally eyeshadow, and that's all. So I had to make peace with the fact that however I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna show up, and you're gonna get what you're gonna get, and the message is what you're gonna get, and that's the whole point of being cracked open. Come on, Teresa, talk to yourself like you're talking to everybody else. That's the whole point of being cracked open. It's showing up as you, whoever you are in that moment, not your future self, not who you were yesterday, who you are right now, who you are right this minute. And it's so bad we don't always do that because we're so busy trying to think about what we're going to do in the next 10 minutes. Yeah, I got stuff to do, but I can be present for what's happening right now. I couldn't do this with you right now if I was so busy focusing on, what I'm going to say next. I got paper right here. I got a whole 3 sheets of paper. I was gonna read off this paper and talk about all this different stuff. I got it timed out, all kind of stuff. I was on it. But then I started to ask myself as I started talking, just when it started, is it really cracked open to just be trying to read off the paper? Okay, what it means to be cracked open. Really, it was just some bullet points for me to just remember some touch points that I needed to talk about. I didn't want to, some stuff I just didn't want to forget. So it's not like a whole lot of stuff, but I wanted to be authentic in this moment. I wanted to talk to you, talk to you, not, not, not scripted. And I feel like I'm best when I'm not scripted because then I'm just talking to you. I'm just one human talking to another human. And it doesn't matter if you're one human watching this or 1,000 humans. Now, if y'all 1,000, I want y'all to like some stuff. I don't know. They tell me on social media you got to get likes and stuff. I really am not concerned whether you like it if you get the message that I'm trying to point out to you. And that's about being cracked open, being vulnerable, being real with yourself first. We have lied to ourselves so much. We lie to ourselves so much that we believe it. And I mean, they say if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth, at least to you, if nobody else. I don't know if other people believe it, but that's what we do. We lie and we lie to ourselves. We deserve so much more and so much better. So being cracked open starts with you, cracking you open to find out who you are, why you do the things you do. And nobody, you can go to a shrink, been to a shrink, been there, done that. My shrink told me I was more sane than anybody. I had justifiable right to be crazy if I was because of my experiences on paper back then, because of the things that had happened to me. Let me retract that. Boom. I reel that back because of the things that happened for me. Because I couldn't be this awesome, amazing, dynamic human that I am right now. And I own that. I don't need anybody to tell me that anymore. Once upon a time, I did. But now I don't. I know who I am. And because, oh my gosh, I'm doing things. But because I can own that and don't need anybody to tell me, I know that I can show up and be the real Teresa everywhere I show up. The mayor, that's a title. I can show up and do my job. But Teresa is who's going to show up to do the job. The real Teresa. I don't change because of who's in the room. Now, I'm going to be honest. I do not speak Adamsville Ebonics in all the meetings, but I could. And sometimes, just for the sake, I show them just that much. So I can just ease it into you. I don't just want to throw it all on everybody because the rest from Adamsville is somebody special. But understanding that that's who I am at my core. And I don't ever not show up as me, vulnerable, loud, country, loving, friendly. Everybody's my friend, whether they choose to be or not, because I'm going to show up as that for you. That's my charge. It got nothing to do with you. That's my charge. That's what I'm here for. So, reminding that, again, just being cracked open and just showing up in all of your brokenness, if that's where you are, it's okay to be broken because if you're not, how can the things that you want, if you get your phone when you first get it, when you buy these unlocked phones, and that means they broken. That means that, or your fire stick that you got, you somebody had to break it in order for you to put more stuff on it, the other stuff. So sometimes we have to be broken in order for us to be rebuilt, because that thing that we are before we're broken might not be that might not be it. It might not. And if life is lifing in a way that you are not liking it, let me retract that. If life is lifing and you ain't loving it, it might be time to do something different to get something different. And start by being cracked open, literally exposing yourself first, to you, to you. Be honest to you. Who are you? Who are you? Are you your hair and makeup, your jewelry, all this bling bling stuff? Are you all of that? Because I'm not. Are you your job, your title? I'm not. Are you your education, your degrees? I'm not. Are you are you just your mate's partner? I'm not. I am me and I know who I am. And sometimes that's upsetting to people, because my real self will show up in their authentic their as my all in all my authenticity, and their representatives can sometimes get a little nervous. I don't call people out. When I first got on this like little spiritual journey, and I could see things and I could hear things, sometimes I couldn't help but say things. God was like, I didn't tell you to say nothing. And the backlash sometimes was bad because I was not charged to say anything. I was just supposed to see it or hear it. So now I don't necessarily call people out. Now my spirit might, because we can talk to each other without that little pink thing between our tongue. I mean, between our teeth moving. We can speak to each other, and sometimes spiritually, my I speak to people and things change. Something, I don't know what you call it, but yeah, yeah. That's where we are. So, but in order, again, even to be cracked open, once you see yourself, there's a huge component that has to take place in order, again, for the real cracking open. You may crack. You know how when a little baby chick is first coming out the shell and it poke poke, it make a little poke and then it's a little hole and then there's a crack before it cracks open. But when there's an earthquake, there's a little crack and then it cracks open. Sometimes we just get a little crack. But the full cracking open is when we can see ourselves and forgive ourselves. Yeah, let that sink in for a sec. Self forgiveness. If you can't forgive yourself, if you don't forgive, if you mad at your mama, if you mad at your daddy, if you mad at your ex, if you mad, it ain't about the other person. Sorry if that's the first time you, okay, sorry, not sorry. If that's the first time you've heard that, it is not about the other person. Anger is all about you. And it is, it is the lowest vibrating emotion. Nope, 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 nope. It's way, 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 way low. The lowest vibrating emotion is shame, and then guilt, and then anger. I think that's the bottom three. Shame, guilt, and anger. So when you're mad at somebody else, really, really in real life, it's one of those three things. It's not them. They just probably showed something in you about you that you don't like about you, and it pissed you off that somebody showed you about you that you don't like. Because in real life, you can't see what you don't resonate with. Period. You can't see what you don't resonate with. Prime example. Sometimes in there's people who tell me that when we have been in meetings, people be like, "You didn't see so and so face? They were rolling their eyes at you. They were huffing and rolling their eyes." I'm like, I didn't see them because they are not on my level. I can only see people really like that who on my level. And if you doing all of that, I don't mean like you beneath me, but yeah, your vibe is so much lower than mine. I just don't see you. So no, I didn't see him. And if I did, and what? That's you. I'm not going to stop being me because it makes you uncomfortable because I'm comfortable being me. Not, hadn't done that in a lot of years. A lot of years. And the older I get, the less I do it. Now, I don't tell people, don't wait till you get 50 because people love that. Oh, I can't wait till I turn 50 because I'm going to be doing so and so. Don't do that. Just a waste of years. Find you now. Find you. And when you find you, love on you, love you the way you want other people to love you. Yeah. Yeah. Love you the way you want other people to love you. You always want somebody to come rub my feet, rub your feet, love you like that. They ain't buy me nothing. Love you like that. Love you first. But in order to love you, you got to be able to forgive yourself too. And self forgiveness, I just told you that's one of the hardest things. It's hard remembering those things you did because you're gonna have to dig them up and remember them. You can't just say I forgive myself. Something it's got to be like I forgive myself for I forgive myself. And it's funny because people always want somebody to apologize to them. You owe me an apology. Do I? You know, sometimes you apologize just for the sake of, relationships, but do I owe you an apology? Not necessarily. Because again, those feelings that you're feeling in that moment that you feel like I owe you an apology, maybe those feelings need to be kind of cracked up. Now, if I come in, I just nut up, which is never going to happen with Teresa. That's just not my jam. It just feels bad in my spirit. And my vibe is very high and foolishness is not, it's not there. Um, but if I did, that's still not about you. That's about me. If I go off on you, that's not about you. That's about me. So then maybe, yeah, I should apologize at that point. I should apologize if God forbid I'm mad at somebody. And instead of telling that person I'm mad at them, I go off on you. Even if especially if that person is me, because we can be mad at ourselves. So that's where that self-forgiveness comes in. So when you forgive yourself, then it makes it easy to forgive other people. Again, I told you people don't be wanting to forgive anybody. I'm mad at him. I've been mad at him. I ain't spoke to him in 20 years. I don't speak to him. Why? I'm, I read this thing on Facebook. I tell you, as crazy as Facebook can be, there are like two quotes I read on Facebook that literally changed my life. The first one said, "What you think of me is none of my business." That's the first quote I ever remember seeing on Facebook. And that just, boom, that changed my whole life. Now, did it take me still all these years maybe to kind of realize that? Still struggling with trying to get this podcast started because I was nervous about what you were going to think? Yeah. But I learn a little bit more every day that what you think of me. I got so much business to take care of with the rest. I can't focus on you. I can only focus on me. Like for real, for real. So that's all I do. I focus on me. I take care of me. So the first quote I read, like I said, what you think of me is none of my business. But the one that really, 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 I feel like it was that thing that was the linchpin for my spiritual journey. And I say the linchpin because when I read it, it's like the pen popped out and everything just started flooding out. And what it said was, unforgiveness is like you drinking the poison, but expecting the other person to die. What? Unforgiveness is like you drinking the poison, but waiting on somebody else to die. You hate somebody so much that you're going to drink poison. It's killing you, friend. It's killing you. Like in all the ways, all of them. Not might mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, you're dying. You may not even realize it. Toxic to everybody else and poisoning everybody around you probably cuz you mad cuz somebody said something to you 13, 15 years ago. You mad. Plies got a little video that say, you mad. I can't argue with you. I'm happy. Leave me alone. For real. And if that's you, I pray you find your happy. But again, that unforgiveness thing, it will take you out of here. I went to Africa some years ago and I saw this book in the airport that I wanted. And I really, really wanted this book. And the book was so it was like $54. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, if this book is $54 in the airport in Africa, I'm gonna get home. I'm gonna go on Amazon and get this book for $12, 20 max. So I took a picture of the ISBN, little serial number on the back of the book. Right? Okay. I come home. I'm ready to Google the book. Can't find the book. I Google it, another book pops up. Google it, another book. Finally, I said, okay, look, God, you keep popping this book up. You want me to see it. It's very obvious. I'm going to look at the book. So I look at the book, and the name of the book is Healing Begins with Sanctification of the Heart. What? That's what you wanted me to see? So I'm looking at the book, looking, looking, looking. The book is written by a Zimbabwean doctor who said she talked to God and said, "Look, I want to heal people, and I'm not healing anybody. I need to heal people." And God spewed this book out of her. And it's a free book, it's free. Healing Begins with Sanctification of the Heart. Please Google it. It may change and save somebody's life. But it talks about it's like 700 pages, and it's talking about how to heal yourself. But the healing comes from sanctification of the heart. Because according to this doctor, every illness known to man is linked to two things. According to this doctor, every single illness, unforgiveness, and toxic thinking. Every illness. And this book will tell you how to heal everything from, I'm just throwing out, jaundice to cancer to hepatitis to high blood pressure to all the diseases are in this book. I told you 700 some pages. Alcoholism, it will tell you now it's scripture based. I had to tell you that. So if you're not into scripture, if you cannot, if you cannot use scripture for your healing, because again, that's your thing. But this book tells you how scripture connects to science to heal you. Now, chew up the fish and spit out the bones. Go download it. It's free. I think it's like MK Stroman or something like that. Healing Begins with Sanctification of the Heart. I am not getting anything for that. I'm just saying that because that book is life changing. It is life changing. But again, for the premise of the book to be that every single illness known to the human experience can be linked to unforgiveness, down to cancer, particularly to the point where she says that cancer, and this one sticks out to me the most because I am a woman and I had some lumps some years ago, and I was terrified that the lumps were, well, I won't, let me retract that. I wasn't terrified that the lumps were cancer, but it was scary. And she said if you have breast cancer is linked to a very, very, very deep unforgiveness towards a woman, whether it is you personally or if it is generational and you have inherited generational curse. Okay, because this book that book I'm talking about, Healing Begins Face to Face for the Heart, talks about generational curses. So it talks about if you have inherited somebody else's curse and now it's in your body, and it tells you how to heal it. And it says if it's on the left side, and I remember this because the heart is on the left side, it is a family member. So if you find breast cancer on the left side, there is a deep resentment and anger and unforgiveness towards a woman in your family. And if it's on the right side, it is a non family member. And that was just mind blowing. So I started telling this to women that I know who had either experienced breast cancer or have currently have it or had it at the time when I was really sharing it out there. Now I'm sharing it. So I'm telling you. Um, and every single one of them confirmed that there was some kind of disconnect and some kind of ill feelings towards a woman they know. And it just triggered that thing in them to be like, oh my gosh. So understanding that unforgiveness is really that thing that keeps us from being cracked open, whether it is unforgiveness of self. And again, that's the hardest one. You think it's that person, you think it's your ex, you think it's your child, you think it's your mate, you think it's everybody else, but it's really you. And again, I need you to fully understand that when your spouse pops off at you, it ain't you, it's your spouse. If I pop off at my spouse, God forbid, I just don't do that anymore. Now, I ain't gonna say I never did. I just ain't gonna say I never was or could be mad. I've just evolved past the anger now. That's just a useless emotion to me. Now, can it can it can it kind of um boost you to do some things? Yeah. But what I do is I take the anger and again chew up the fish and spit out the bones. Yeah, I might be mad in that split second. Oh my God, I can't believe you did that. But then I got to figure out how to transmute that and turn it into a love thing. I refuse to use my precious energy that I have been given. Our Us being is a gift in and of itself. So I just refuse to squander my gift being mad at you. I'm just not. I'm not a low vibrating human like that. That's a low vibration. Just told you. Next time I'm gonna put this chart up. I'm gonna have this chart, and I may just post it somewhere so people can see the chart that shows you the emotions is like an upside down cone. It's big at the top and it's little at the bottom, and the highest vibration is like enlightenment, I think. But then it comes down and there's love and there's adoration and all these different things, and then it funnels all the way down, and at the very very tip is like shame, and then guilt, and then anger, all of those three at the very bottom. So if you are operating from a place of guilt and shame, yeah, you're going to naturally just be nasty to people, just rude and mean and hostile. Then that's why you're angry. And then nobody wants to be around you because you're angry. Then you get more angry because people don't want to be around you. That's just a vicious cycle. It's just a, ooh, who wants to, who, why? Ooh, okay, I'm sorry. But I told you that's challenging for me because in my brain, I just don't, that's just not who I am. So while it's hard for sometimes people to see me, and I had a colleague to tell me once, you too damn happy. You make me not want to be around you. And all I could say was, "Phew, thank you. I was trying to figure out how to tell you I didn't want to be around you and not be mean about it. Oh, she thinks she thought I was going to be sad. But in actuality, I was so happy that she had found the out for that relationship. As little as it was, she gave me the out. And I was grateful for that. I was glad that I didn't have to be the one to break us up. We were colleagues and we had to work together. But I didn't like that. So, again, that vicious cycle of anger. And sometimes people are just like on a low simmer. They ain't mad, but I'm right there. Just do one thing and I'm gonna go from a simmer to a boil and just like that. And it's your fault. Something you did made me mad. Mm, I'm just the mirror that showed you what you didn't want to see that made you mad sometimes. And I'm not saying the folk that poke the bear, because it is people that will poke a bear. I don't know why. It's not fun to me. I can't even run that fast. At least not now. I used to be now. If you tell me I can skate, I might be able to outskate a bear, but I don't think I can outrun a bear. So I don't poke the bear, at least not intentionally. But if I do, don't come for me unless I send for you. Please don't. We don't have to do that. We can be kind. We can say anything with kindness. And for a while, I think people thought I was being condescending because people don't recognize kind all the time. Then somebody told me I was fake. You so fake. Ain't nobody that happy all the time. Okay, well, I can be fake it till I make it then. If I'm fake, I'm faking it till I make it. Fake it till you make it. That's what I'm offering. That's what I'm giving you. That's what I'm telling you. People like kind people. People like to go places with me because I'm so kind. People love to give me stuff. People love to give me stuff. I have stuff all over the place because people love to give me stuff because I'm kind. So be kind. And sometimes the stuff that people love to give me, sometimes it's just a hug or a smile. And sometimes it's at the time I need it the most. Just being kind. But I'm real at the same time. I'm not ashamed of, I don't think I'm ashamed of anything. Have I done some things I would never do again? Yeah, I have. Have I done some things that I wish I hadn't done? Maybe not so much. Wish I hadn't done them. Maybe wish I hadn't done them with the person I did them with. Or I mean, I just realized that everything that has happened in my human experience, and I mean everything, it is OJT for this experience that I'm in right now. and I am loving every minute of it. If you talk to anybody, they will tell you I am the happiest person. I am I am truly the happiest I probably have ever been in my real life. Do I have everything I've ever had in my real life? All the things? Nope. I got a job that really right now pays $3,000 a year for 8, 10, 12, 16 hour days. I make $3,000 a year as the mayor of Palmetto, and I love every minute of it. I get to use all of these things that happen for me to share with you. That's why this podcast is it's about to be that thing. I can't wait till Robin Roberts off of Good Morning America is interviewing me. And she's going to ask me about this podcast. She's going to ask me about being the mayor. She's going to ask me about how I evolved to this person, because somebody surely might talk about Teresa from Adamsville. Might be my own husband. I don't know. But how we can show up, just show up and watch the atmosphere shift just because you walked in the room, because you showed up in a vibe that nobody is accustomed to. That's so high that people just want it. You got to be the vibe. You can't wait for everybody else to bring it all the time. You know how you go to a party and you get there and the music is jamming, but ain't nobody on the dance floor. And you waiting on somebody to get on the dance floor because you want to get on the dance floor, but you got to wait for somebody. Yeah, I'm not the wait for somebody. I'm going to get on the dance floor first. And I'm going to have a good time. And I'm going to be having such a good time, you're going to want to jump in and have a good time too. That's how your life should be. That's how I'm hoping that's what I'm believing. Let me retract. I'm hoping it, but I'm truly believing. That's why I transform her with Teresa Smith is going to be that place where you find and learn how to do just that, how to just show up as you and be happy and have a good time. It doesn't matter that everybody else in the room is looking crazy. It doesn't matter that everybody else in the room is mad. It doesn't matter that it's contentious. It doesn't matter that you can cut it with a knife. None of those things matter. When you show up as you and just be you. I tell people I'm so good at being me. I don't want to be nobody else. When people call me Teresa, I'm like, my name is Teresa. Because the instant I let you call me Teresa, I've let you make me somebody that I'm not. I'm not Teresa. And I know some good ones. My cousin, I know y'all. I know some good ones. I'm just not one of them. I am one of one. And my name is Teresa. And I am proud to be Teresa. I am Teresa that has been on an amazing healing journey. And as we go through these episodes, you'll get to know more about my healing journey, cuz I'm cracked open. I let it ooze out and I let it go where it goes. Let it go back into the earth a lot of it. I'm a grounder. I love it. It's gonna be freezing cold tomorrow, and somewhere in with me, I wish when I was in Tampa last week, wish I had walked around somewhere outside with my shoes off just for a minute, for the last real good grounding, um, before it gets cold, and the ground is rock hard, and I can't go outside barefoot anymore. Um, but yeah, I have been on an amazing healing journey. And I am so thankful that not only has God given me a voice to use to tell the story, um, and a platform, bunch of platforms. And I'm learning to use all of them. Again, I'm got my two cameras going. I got my Instagram right there, and I got my YouTube and Facebook right here. But I am if I scripture says I won't let the rocks cry out for me. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell the story. And there are some ugly parts. You'll hear them. There are some uncomfortable parts. You'll hear them. Because again, being cracked open, I learned that these things, again, didn't happen to me. And for years, I was angry because I felt like a lot of people did a lot of things to me from the time I was a little girl. Little girl. Um, People did things to me, and I felt like that for a long time. But then in my inner standing, not my understanding, in my inner standing, I fully know that they did those things for me so that I could fulfill my divine assignment that I came for, so that I can act in my gifts and in my purpose. And my gifts and my purpose are all about you. Again, they happen for me to share them with you. I get to tell you so that somebody, and again, I don't know how many people will watch this. I don't know how many people will see these. Um, I know Robin Roberts is going to see it sometime, and on one of them, might not be this one, but she's going to see it and she's going to say, I want to interview that lady. And I'm waiting on you, Robin. But I'm hoping and I'm praying and I'm believing that through me and my guest, because there will be real people that come on as guests, and we're going to tell real stories that change real lives. So here we are at the end of this episode. God, it just feels like this hour has gone by so quickly. And here I was in all of my nervousness, trying to get myself prepared for this. Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what am I going to talk about? Because again, I prefer to just be raw and authentic versus reading from my paper that's still right here. Two pieces fell on the floor. So I couldn't even use them if I wanted to, because I wasn't going to drop down off the camera to pick up some papers off the floor. But I am very grateful that um, I get to do this. I am very grateful that you have tuned in to hear what this girl has got to say. This lady, this cracked open woman, hoping that this space becomes the safe place. And I know we hear that all the time. Oh, it's a safe space. It's a safe space. It's a safe space because I'm gonna be the one that puts it all out there. I don't mind. And again, if the metaphor that I told you that I was going to tell you earlier is I share with people, if I show up naked, it gives you permission to do the same. My commitment to you in this podcast, through this broadcast, is to show up naked. Now, you're never going to see me on camera naked. Not going to see that. Mr. Smith would lose his mind. The world would lose their mind. I would lose I have lost my mind. If you see me on the camera naked, I have already lost my mind, and I don't want to trigger that in anybody else. But I'm going to show up naked. And I hope that everybody that shows up as a guest and every viewer feels the same way, that they can show up naked in this experience. Um, and I'm going to leave you with a challenge. I encourage you to get a journal. And I did this last week. I'm going to encourage you every single time, get a journal. Men, women, I mean, this is a podcast for women, but I know some women, men will be on here. My husband will be tuned in. If nobody else is, he is my fan. Thank you, babe. I know you're here somewhere, maybe listening, but I love you and I appreciate you. But get a journal and journal about some things that you might need want to forgive yourself for. You know, they're going to bubble up. When they bubble up, just journal about some things you might want to forgive yourself for. Let's just focus on self for a while. Write a love letter to yourself, forgiving yourself. Even if nothing comes up right away, write a love letter to yourself, forgiving yourself. And remind it and sign it at the end. Love you. Get that. Love you. Love you. Okay, love me. Either one. But write a letter to yourself. Put it in the comments, put it in the chats. They told me I'm supposed to say all that kind of stuff. I can forget all that stuff. They supposed to tell me to like, subscribe. I don't know all these things. I just love to get on here and talk and share and be real with you and anticipate and get excited about doing this again in another 2 weeks. So this episode is coming to an end. I'm sorry to say goodnight, but I am because I have to go see my husband. And love yourself. I hope you find your cracked open place. We're going to do it together. Stay here with me. Join me back again. I think it's December the 4th. Yes, it is. Wednesday, December 4th is the next episode. Until then, I hope that you have an amazing holiday. We are got Thanksgiving next week. Every day should be Thanksgiving. I hope you are giving thanks. As a matter of fact, in your journal, make sure you write down at least three things. Three things. Uno, dos, tres. Three things that you are grateful for every day. Every day. If you don't have a journal, put it in your journal on your phone. The phone's got journals, they got notes, they got all the things. So, by all means, I will see you next time. I love you. Transform Her with Teresa Smith is leaving for the evening. Peace. Now I got to remember how to turn all these things off. It says end that. I got to end that. And then I get to end this with you. Peace.